March 7th, 2022 marked the 30th anniversary of the first broadcast of the Sailor Moon anime. To honor this, we've decided to watch the entire series from start to finish, alongside a group taking on the challenge on Reddit. This is Girl Scouts Watch Sailor Moon, episodes 33 through 40. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I am Borealis, aka the Literal Grill.
And I'm Wren.
And I'm Kai.
And as you can see, we're finally all back together again. Yay!
Yay! If not in person.
Exactly. It may not be perfect, but we make it work. I think we'll have an in-person recording session next week, which should be exciting, but it's just nice to be able to have things on schedule. This will probably be coming out, right after the delayed episode, because I'm going to just edit them both at the same time since, I already have to do all that work anyway. But, so, for anyone binge listening to the episodes, hi again. But we got some interesting episodes this week. We get to jump into a new section of storyline of sort where we have Evil Tuxedo Mask. Ooh. Yeah, so it should be really neat. And to be fair, too, we also, because, maybe we just jump right into it. Enter Venus, the last Sailor Guardian. We get Sailor Venus, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just jump in then. This episode had a lot. Soy Sight dresses up as Sailor Moon. And of course, we get to see the gay couple being super, super gay. It's so wild.
Yeah.
It's so wild to think, I guess it makes more and more sense why they made Zoe Sight a girl when they tried to do the whole let's Americanize everything or whatever. But, really?
And I don't remember, was it the last episode or is it this episode that ends with Zoe Sight being held while Usagi is talking about love?
I am not sure. I think that's later on, but that is kind of a thing, yes.
But they kind of do a parallel between Usagi and Tuxedo Mask and...
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in this episode, this is where, if I remember correctly, what is it? Yeah, this isn't, quite Evil Tuxedo Mask yet. This is we get Sailor Venus. There's a hint that maybe she's the princess. And of course we get to meet Artemis. We finally have both kitty cats around. Despite Rhett Butler being so just horribly cast aside by Luna. I'm still not over it. I'll never be over it. It was a romance for the ages. But
I don't know. I think that both parties need to be equally involved. I think
romance
that Rhett Butler deserves
for the
better
ages. Oh, okay, now see, actually, to be fair, that's a good argument. But yeah,
he's somebody that is as interested in him. I know.
Oh gosh, yeah, exactly. How do you turn down the Tuxedo Mask of cats? But
wait, does this mean that Luna is Rhett Butler's Queen Beryl?
Ooh, interesting.
I'm sorry, I'm getting into spoilers here.
Well, you know what? I think at some point, this sounds like an amazing fanfic, but it's really, really interesting too. So this is because I've been complaining, maybe not complaining, but talking at least about it. This is the last episode where Usagi introduces the team before the episode. She stops. Yeah, she doesn't introduce herself to the audience or anything anymore, and that just stops here. I don't know if it's just because they think there's too many people to introduce, or I honestly, I don't know. But it's one of those tiny little details I noticed that's interesting because I don't know. I've been paying attention to that so much as we've been watching these.
If they did it so that there would be more space in each episode.
Yeah, they are getting more into the deeper plot, I guess. So that would make sense.
Yeah, that's true. We're getting much less straight up just filler stuff anymore.
Although I do miss the recaps at the beginning of every episode.
It is kind of nice, to be fair. But it's interesting, too. Small change from the manga, not that I probably notice most people. But Sailor Venus actually keeps identifying as Sailor V when she first shows up. They just kind of poof, over this kind of stuff. And Zoisite also never actually dresses up as Sailor Moon in the manga, which is interesting. But yeah, it's really weird to be like, here's this major character introduction, and that's kind of it. Like, all of the other characters, when they get introduced, like that first episode, they get their build up to show everyone why they're so good. But this is like the first time we didn't have to do that because she's been built up as the ultimate, like, she's already been out there fighting and doing stuff this whole time. So it's a little bit of a departure. It's interesting.
And I find it a little humorous how I believe the other Guardians are talking about maybe this imposter Sailor Moon is the princess, and Luna's just completely clueless and thinking, is there a fifth Guardian? Is this all of us? Is not having any clue what's going on.
Yeah, like Artemis, awful job at telling her what's going on. Like, Jesus, my man. I know she ends up finding out that it's him later. Like, I think it's the next episode or so, but it's just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Wow. But if we don't have anything else on this one, we can jump into the next episode, which, to be fair, we get a little bit more intense with, I guess, for lack of better words. As if I remember correctly, isn't this the one? This is the one where like Mamoru like ends up finding out, who's that Usagi is Sailor Moon. They both end up transforming together, and he ends up getting his butt kicked pretty bad. And then it's when we get the silver crystal all added in, which is also a huge advancement where the silver crystal doesn't get added on to her one and stuff in the manga for like quite a while longer. So like it's really interesting how this anime has like so many different, I don't know how to put it, it's all of the episodes where they're stalling for time, and then in other episodes they just like jam several things together really quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So weird. But things aren't too horribly different, other than minor things or whatever when it comes to the differences. But that one is just like really interesting. And I suppose, to be fair too, in the manga, Tuxedo Mask isn't actually like mortally wounded or whatever either. From what I was able to read, got some research going. So it's just kind of like, it's interesting the changes they choose to make. Although I think this is a smart one. I mean, he's supposed to be all powerful and always saving the day, right? Like, having him taken down a peg makes the villains finally a bit scarier, Like, they could really hurt somebody.
I think that we were a little bit fast moving on from Nephrite dying.
What do you mean?
I mean, that happened in the first episode that we're talking about with Sailor V being introduced.
No, Nephrite died.
Did it happen at the
that was like a previous episode. Those were previous episodes. That was the last episode of the podcast.
Okay.
I think. Maybe even before that. Yeah, no, sorry. That was a while back. Yeah.
That was a while back.
Although, you know what? Saying that, though, is interesting. Because even if it was a mistake, I can turn this into an excellent discussion point. Mm-hmm. Are they throwing away the starter villains a little quickly? Because, I mean, like, the very first one, yes, he's just kind of gone. And then Nephrite, gets something. But in this series of episodes...
really quickly.
Oh, yeah, Zoisite's going to end up dead. Unless that's who you meant, instead of Nephrite. But yeah, Zoisite ends up dead kind of quick, and only a little bit after he gets to start making his own plans, and only after, like... Because, Wren wasn't here for the last time, so all of the Rainbow Crystal episodes were filler. None of them happened in the manga. So most of what he gets to do is just filler. And it's kind of interesting how they, like, are tossing him away so quickly.
I guess, well, I guess that's a bit of a trend with, as each progressive 4 kings of the Dark Kingdom or whatever, have their turn. Beryl kind of starts losing patience with him and their repeated failures.
I guess that's fair. I guess maybe that's also part of why the pressure's on so hard. It does make sense.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, to know when there's a change in Beryl actually caring if somebody lives or dies.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, she is an evil villain, but it does kind of happen. I don't want to say seemingly at random, but like, wow, can she just like go off and just be like, yeah, no, you're dead today. Like, screw it, no more patience.
Yeah.
Well, heck, do we have any other thoughts on this particular episode, or do we want to hit up the next one? This is another week where we have quite a few. We have 8 episodes going. Like,
let's go to the next one.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, we have Returning Memories, Usagi and Mamoru's Past. Ooh. I mean, to be fair, we get a lot more of this now. We talked about this when you weren't here, Ren, about how, like, the episodes were showing off the the Moon Princess or whatever in the exact same wedding dress that Sailor Moon transformed herself into in a previous episode. So we're getting even more of that. Like, Usagi and Mamoru are remembering how they were Princess Serenity and Prince Endymion, and this is where the Dark Kingdom actually straight up gets to kidnap Mamoru, and Zoisite dies. Because Zoisite tried to kill him because he's not a big fan, and
because he blames him for Nephrite, even though that was Beryl, which is like, dude.
And I mean, to be fair, Zoisite also partially Zoisite. He was all injured by the people Zoisite summoned. Like, come on, dude, really? Like, dang.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, I guess that happens though, where people will displace blame for things.
Yeah, I guess that is pretty fair. And I mean, like, it's interesting too, though, because like this is finally when we get to start hearing a bit about Queen Metalia. You know, like our even above and beyond villain, and like some of this is like happening. You know, as like, yeah, no, now she's finally here, and I have no more patience for you. You tried to kill this guy who could be useful. Like, you're dead. Just no. And of course, Kunzite not happy because those two are gay. I mean, but for real, they are very gay for each other. Oh my god! And he's very big on like, oh, I will avenge him, and it's obvious, you know, that he wants to like, he doesn't really even want to work with, you know, even evil Tuxedo Mask when he's all brainwashed and turned evil, because it's just like, no, it's your fault. And even Tuxedo Mask is like, yeah, no, I don't want to work with him either. I want to do this honorably, because such a good honorable villain.
Yeah. In the previous one, before his transformation, he just takes Zoisite at his word when they're offering to fight fair, and continues taking that honorable approach as, what did I call him? Tuxedo Dark Endymion.
Yes. Although, see, we were complaining about how dumb Luna is, and it's kind of because this episode finally covers that too. Like, everyone's memories are suddenly returning, including Luna, so now she actually kind of knows everything. Which is just like selective amnesia for storytelling. I mean, okay. I mean, I get it, though.
There has to be a reason to explain to the audience what exactly is happening.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. Like, it's interesting, too, though, because we were talking about Zoisite's death, right? And in the manga, he was actually just killed by Sailor Venus. So, like, they're trying to build up this thing where, like, Queen Beryl is extra evil or something with this, too. Or, like, I feel like they're trying to build those tensions between we have our new villain, but, you know, our two villains in a way that wasn't in the manga, which is interesting.
Yeah, I guess.
I know, right? Like, it's an interesting change.
Yeah, even going back to Jadeite, Beryl's threat throughout his whole thing was the eternal sleep that you'll be sent to if you fail. And then with Zoe's side, just, no, you're done. I'm just gonna toast you.
Yeah, no kidding. Which is also interesting. Like, if that's supposed to be worse than death, why isn't she doing that to everyone else? Like, dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is an interesting thing that they, I guess, threw away that as a, I don't know, story idea, I guess. Because, like, that could have been interesting. And eternal sleep, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they can be woken up. Who knows? Or, I don't know. I don't remember the series enough. I don't know if that happens at some point. That would be fascinating. We're finally getting
Something
into
where
the
you just
part.
ice someone until you can unthaw them and they'll be useful again.
Yeah. And it's just interesting in general. Like, I mean, we're finally hitting the episodes where I admit I don't remember as well. You know, my memories of what happens are fuzzier because I watched this when I was a kid. And
I
it's exciting to have a little bit of like, I wonder what happens next.
I will say that like the um Zoisite's death scene is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. That's so romantic and gay and flowery.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
yeah.
just
There's like real sympathy for a villain death this time. This doesn't
mhm.
feel like Nephrite. Like, I'm sorry, I know they wanted
No.
it to feel like it should be some big thing, but like
I
this
mean,
feels
Nephrite
significant.
Nephrite was using Naru, and like while Naru had real feelings and is really, really sad about it, it's still a thing where it's like Nephrite kind of made his own bed. This is really painful because it's like, what exactly all is happening here? Here's some people who have actual feelings for each other and who are actually trying their best to do exactly what their leader is telling them to do. And
And here she goes and just kills her. I
yeah,
mean, like, I
yeah,
like this irrational evil almost because like evil people.
yeah.
We plenty of anime have evil villain characters and such like that, but like
Mm-hmm.
this is different. Like this is it's an
Mm-hmm.
irrational evil versus like a well planned out. This is why we're doing it thing.
Yeah.
And like, it's a thing too where Zoisite and Kunzite have been paralleled to Usagi and Mamoru at the end of episodes when talking about love and, their dying confession thing and just like, I want to be here in your arms in a beautiful place. And just that one little petal floating through the air, it's.
Yeah, like this is just it is extremely, extremely well done. Like if for such
Mhm.
a I don't want to say a throwaway scene because that's not fair, but it's a small
It's not.
scene. Yeah, it's like a small scene in comparison to the whole episode, but they gave it so much love. Like I said, this is the first time you feel like I think properly sympathetic for the villains, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Or at least the first time that I did. I mean, we were supposed to have feelings about Nephrite, but
Yeah, exactly. Like just yeah,
it all
couldn't get
ends up
into it.
being squicky because it's like, that is a child, sir. Um,
Yeah, no, no kidding. I mean, again, who knows? Maybe overlook that as a kid. But sorry, we're adults watching this, so can't manage.
yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
just like, oh, I don't know. It's an emotional doozy, and like you end up with how I felt at the end of this episode was kind of exhausted emotionally. Like there was a lot of things that happened, and it doesn't really quite follow the like. Here's this monster of the week that the Sailor Guardians are going to take down and save the day, sort of thing.
yeah, it's around this point, give or take an episode or two, where at least for me, it becomes a lot easier to become sort of emotionally invested in the show, rather than
Mm.
that formula, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly. I think this is part of why I liked way back the episode with the girl who summons a ghost and all of that. it's refreshing in a way to see something like that. It's a little more emotionally involved. And you're right. This is the part of the series where stuff gets real, I guess is the best way to put it. Like things are intense. People are gonna die. Like they've stolen Tuxedo Mask. The guy who always saves the day is
Mm-hmm.
gone, you know? And in the very next episode, we get to see evil Endymion. Like he's there. Like he's not only just not a good guy who's gonna save them. He's straight up evil.
But also still kind of saving them. And,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, here let's hop into it. What was
I
the
mean,
next one? Usagi's confusion is Tuxedo Mask evil. There we go.
Tuxedo
Um,
Mask is a dark horse, right?
yeah.
He does not abide by all of the villain rules, but he also doesn't really abide by hero rules strictly, which is why he ends up being extra hot. Um,
Oh my. Oh goodness.
I'm sorry, it's
Look, I'm not saying you're
intriguing
wrong. Just
characterization.
but see, and now that we get to see him as well, mostly evil. Like we definitely have the hints that like he's still maybe under there. You know, like he's still there mentally or
Yeah.
whatever. Because like he can do the whole like the roses will like flash red or whatever sometimes, but like this is when he's quote unquote full on evil. Although Ren is definitely correct. He keeps doing stuff to like kind of save the day, or like I won't fight a fight if it's not honorable, and all this other kind of different stuff. Like it starts changing right around here.
Mhm.
And to be fair, I guess I was saying how like we didn't have to have a let's build up Sailor Venus episode, but like this episode does get to focus on her in the fight a little bit more when they go to the hair salon and everything. So, like, maybe
Oh, yeah.
she kind of gets one. I mean, shrug.
I don't know. I think that it's a thing where, like, she's trying to, like, become friends with Usagi, and Minako is like, here's a good way to cheer girls up, right? We're gonna go and we're gonna have a beauty day at the salon, and that will make you happy.
Oh yeah,
After
that's
you're
that's
really
true.
sad because
Well, because right
you,
now, for all they know, he's dead.
yeah,
So, I mean,
you
like,
just lost Endymion.
yes. Oh. And like, she ends up having this like dream too, where she's like remembering Endymion going off into battle for the Moon Kingdom,
Mhm.
and it's just like, oh. But yeah, it is kind of interesting how like everyone else, like Artemis is just like, oh no, she'll be fine soon. She's got to be a princess. And like, it's like, come on, Sailor Venus is the only one
Oh
who's decent enough
gosh.
to try to like help out. Like, geez. I mean, Usaki's
I
always the one who's
mean,
going out of her way to help all of the people feel better when they're feeling like shit. Like, that's usually her role. So it's just kind of like, dang, now y'all letting her down.
well, Ray
it's kind
does step up to that as well, since I guess they had kind of been both crushing on the two halves of Mamoru Tuxedo Mask, and
Oh, that's
yeah.
true.
kind of starts stepping back and also still relating about that somewhat
Although
shared
Ray's
experience.
first reaction is to get mad at Usagi and be like, what were her exact lines? Oh god. She sort of did a snap and was like, oh god. She got mad, and then in this episode, she's like, oh, I'm sorry about this. Like,
Oh yeah,
I hope
that's
that
right.
you're
Yeah, she
okay.
was. Yeah, she was angry in
Yeah.
that like previous episode thing because it's like, yeah, like, what do you like? You're not even thinking about other people. You're just thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
And what about him? Like, he's injured and
Yeah.
shit. Like, you're not even going to try to save him because that is a fair
Yeah.
point. Like, Sailor Moon hits peak crybaby in the previous episode. Like, I don't want to do
Yeah,
Oh,
any of
yeah.
this anymore at all. And it's like where
we
I kind of get it. She's a young, overwhelmed girl, but like, you've been fighting monsters for months, and
we
and
did
like you
Well,
and you're giving the thing. My problem is you're giving it up where you are surrounded by like enemies and shit. Like they're gonna kill you. You can't just give it. You like if you want to give it up, you at least need to finish this fight out, girl. Like what do you expect's gonna happen? They're just gonna let you walk away?
here's the first time that somebody that Usagi actually genuinely cares about gets hurt.
Yeah, I guess
in a way that
more
can't
physically,
be
because
fixed.
yeah, I was gonna say because
Yeah.
like when Nephrite died, that's significant. But I think you're
Yeah,
right. This is a
Usagi
little more
cared when
intense.
Nephrite died, but Nephrite was just, oh, Naru's weird, evil alien boyfriend.
Yeah, this is someone who's like directly connected to her, and of course, Tuxedo Mask, who they
Yeah.
now know are like, which she now knows, is like super important and to her
Yeah.
and all of this, and of course, she was crushing on her or whatever too, but
And I mean, she also had the return of her memories of like the weird moon kingdom that she used to live in and like how that got set on fire.
yeah, yeah, true.
And so she's kind of like, oh, here's all this loss, and I could just walk away from this and be a normal girl, right?
Yeah, I suppose that's fair, but alas, of course, she can't.
Yeah.
But
I mean, she can't really. And like, all of the other girls are like, oh, good, we found the princess. That's great. And aren't you happy to be the princess? And Usagi's like, I just lost everything that was important.
yeah, I guess that's fair. Just still though,
My one true love, which is kind of funny because it's like, you and Mamoru, like, they have like a clip show where Mamoru is. They had a clip show at one point where they were comparing Tuxedo Mask saying nice things and Mamoru calling Usagi bunhead.
yeah, that's just true. It's true. Just like
And it was just, it was kind of beautiful because it's like all along this weird negging has pushed Usagi to do better. But also it's like, oh my god, he's negging her and this is being played up as like,
you heard it here first, folks. Sailor Moon endorses negging. Wait. But no, it's
I
true.
don't
That's the
know.
first thing I thought too. Though you're right. He does kind of neg her, and then she still likes him. It's like, ugh. But the show has several problematic elements with most of its romances. We've pointed at tons of them, and I'm
Yeah.
going to assume they will continue. Um, not much can be done
It's
there.
it's also interesting too because Minako, Sailor V, Sailor Venus, she presides over Venus, right?
Yeah,
Which has a whole bunch of love associations. And all of the other girls, to some extent, except for like Ami, are a little bit boy crazy
Hmm.
at this point.
yeah, and yeah, that's fair. And Venus never really is, at least that we've seen yet.
Yeah. And I think that part of that is, she's waiting to have a little bit more of an in depth, like, connection. Or at least that's my hope. I don't remember.
I
At
know it's
this
going to be
point, it
fun as
sure
we get into
seems like that.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, heck. Oh, yeah, and just so we have it, because again, he keeps making weird excuses to not fight the Sailor Scouts. He leaves because he doesn't like to fight girls. In this episode, by the way, just did a quick check. So,
Hmm.
to be fair, the other Sailor Scouts show up, but it's just like I don't want to fight girls. So then, oh, we know that's right. And Queen Beryl tells him no, no, leave, retreat for now. It's fine. But it's just like I don't like to fight girls. Okay, yeah, that's why you'll stop being evil. That's fine.
That's legit. I
Exactly.
mean, why fight girls when you can make out with them instead?
It's true.
Whoa! Oh my goodness! Wow. Well, with that one out of the way, do we want to hit the next episode?
After
Sure.
one brief quote from the Monster of the Week, you walked right in like a slug.
Yes, that's right. Oh, some of the
Oh
lines in
god.
these are great. I can't remember.
The
Wasn't there
monster of the week here is great too.
yeah, wasn't there at some point someone was insulted by calling them bread or something like something ridiculous it may even be in the next episode, I can't remember, but some of the insults on the show are just I need to put these in my back pocket. These will definitely disarm people in an argument.
Yes.
But yeah, the next episode is Let's Become a Princess, Usagi's Bizarre Training, which is a complete filler episode. Never happened in the manga at all. Um,
Mhm.
Although, well, not like the Rainbow Crystal arc, which is all filler, which was, as Kai and I had discussed, like, it
Mhm.
didn't feel like filler. I'm going to say that this one also, like, had I not known, I might not have noticed. Like, it's
Mhm.
a little silly because in later episodes, like they're trying to find Sailor Moon specifically, and they talk about how she's like kind of clumsy or whatever. And in some of the other episodes, as they try to find her, they like half ignore that that's one of her traits. Sometimes, like it's weird, but like if she's good at throwing a frisbee, because Moon Tiara magic, she's
Oh
obviously
yeah,
Sailor Moon.
she has to both be clumsy and good at frisbee,
Exactly.
which is smart, but it's also absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, like whoever's writing this one, because again, it's filler. Like they were goofballs, but I love it though. It's a good kind of goofball. And to be fair,
Oh
the
gosh,
villain they're
yeah.
fighting is spooky because like one hit your stone and she like knocks out how many people at once. And it's just
And then she like takes them to the room of stone statues that used to be girls.
Yeah.
yeah, like she's actually scary. And of course the only reason they actually managed to beat her is because like Endymion and Kunzite are fighting. Like and that's it. Like and she gets
Mhm.
confused on who she's supposed to listen to. Like it's kind
Then
of
Sailor
interesting
Moon offers
because
coffee.
oh yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah,
Like that's one of those
and
very
she
important lessons
emphasizes
she
that it's
learned.
free.
Yeah, it's just really really funny catching her off guard is like how they survive just because the two are fighting. Like it's so anticlimactic. Like here's this villain who looked like they were honestly on the precipice of just straight up winning and actually beating them, and
Mhm.
complete comedy essentially is how they win.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah.
But it is neat, like the episode in general is it's cute. I mean, we get to see all the girls
Mhm.
dancing in pretty gowns, which is let's be fair, that's nice. I mean, of course, anyone of just across so many genders have loved Sailor Moon, but figure out getting to watch the girls in pretty dresses dance around and see some of the other girls are also a little clumsy is actually kind of cool. Like honestly, like it humanizes Usagi a little bit. Like I guess like she is clumsy or whatever else, but I think the best bit, while like Luna like is disparaging about it, she's like, I'm gonna be my own type of princess. And I like that. I like that a lot.
Mhm.
Like for a filler episode and one of the last lines in a filler episode, that's emotionally powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think towards the middle of the episode, Minako also kind of says the same thing, disagreeing with the rest of them. Well, is it really a problem that she doesn't act like the stereotypical princess?
Yeah, exactly. And it's true. It's not really a problem. Like, it's not. But everyone's got these weird expectations. I think especially Artemis, to be fair, which
Yeah.
like screw off Artemis. You've like sucked this whole time,
Mhm.
like, and confused Luna and been a jerk. Like, ugh, I don't trust your
Yeah, no.
judgment.
I can
Mhm.
see why he was characterized as the bigot in that fan dub that we watched.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah,
I
we
fell asleep
watched.
partway through, so I don't remember.
We'll have
Yeah.
another chance, I'm sure.
Oh, exactly.
Mhm.
Because we keep adding weird bits of Sailor Moon stuff to put into the
Mhm.
rest week episode, and definitely the whole like
Mhm.
Sailor Moon S rated R, like the promise of his rosebud will be something we can talk about. I'll have to put some big spoiler warnings up for that week or whatever, and we just get to talk about all of the weird stuff. It'll be great.
Um,
Oh, go on.
I I do appreciate our fancy lady villain, um, and the monster that she turns into because she looks like those fancy shaped soaps that you're not actually allowed to wash your hands with at like your aunt's house.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. Yeah, like it's an era of fanciness in a unique way. It makes things important.
Mhm.
Although, I was talking about how dumb this is a premise to catch Sailor Moon. But what about hosting a contest to crown someone the Moon Princess? Literally.
Yes.
See, it would be dumb if she didn't fall into it.
The Snow, the
True,
Mountains,
true.
Friendship and Monsters, episode 38. And yes, they freaking fall right into it. Like, teenage girl. Like, I think, like, one of them is like,
Why
no,
is
this is
it
too
that the
obvious to
other
actually be a
teenage
trap.
girls are falling into it? Like, it makes sense for Usagi. She's kind of stupid. But everybody else is also like, let's ice skate.
Yeah, and wait, no, this isn't the ice skating. This is skiing.
Oh,
We're not quite
this is
there yet.
skiing. Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
although
never
they,
mind.
they they trick Artemis and Luna so that they can all go on vacation. And she's like, oh yeah, no, this should be fine. This is too obvious to be a trap. Let's just go. And it's just like, oh my god. I mean, to be fair, this is another filler episode, so we're allowed to be a little silly. But I would also say, yet again, a really good filler episode. Like, especially because like Rei and Usagi's friendship gets to build a bit more. Like they always have this whole like
Oh,
we're
yeah.
kind of at each other's throat thing, but like
Because
They
they're
are-
actually more or less the same.
Yeah.
yeah. Like it shows like why they don't just immediately like stop talking to each other constantly and stuff like that. It builds some of that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we get to see Yuichiro one last time, a complete filler character. Rei's side
gosh.
bay. Yes, complete.
Yeah.
Which I think we talked about this in the Korean dub. They skipped that episode, so this is the only time you see him if you were watching the original Korean dub. And so you have no idea who the fuck this guy is, which is
He's just this
great.
random long-haired guy that, like,
Yeah, showed up out of nowhere, really, really, really
and
into
Rei
this
is
girl.
weirdly romantically attached to, but just no bearing on the rest of the plot.
Yeah, I mean, it's neat enough though. I mean, he does show that he's got a little bit of courage. Like he tries also to protect them again, and fails, of course. Not as great
But
as
Ray
when we got
thinks
to
it's
see.
cute.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not quite as cool as when we had our totally definitely tuxedo mask. Doing it. Gonna beat the crap out of him, but like,
Oh
like
gosh,
it still
Umino
works.
is so special.
Yes, he's a good boy. But like,
Yeah.
it's something. I mean, if he's going to be a throwaway character, at least he gets to do something here. And it's an interesting enough episode. And I mean, of course, there's like ice stuffs, and we have the fire princess. It's not exactly too difficult. But yeah, like she gets like all into it though. She's like, "Oh, this is because you freezed my Yuichiro," and then of course he's not going to be like an important thing. Like it's like heck, like building up a whole romance, making her date Tuxedo Mask randomly as just an add-on. The romance stuff in the show, we have so many problematic romances, and then we just keep making them also just weird. Like, dang.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, while I'm saying it's not like a bad filler episode, I don't want to say it's like forgettable otherwise, but like I do feel bad, but it's just like, yeah,
I don't think that it's anyone's favorite episode, unless if they're
Yes.
like really into skiing.
Oh no, Yuichiro stands out there are gonna come after us. Sorry, Yuichiro
Are there
stands.
Yuichiro stands?
I totally
Does
look.
anyone stand Yuichiro?
Look, we live in a big wide world.
If you stand Yuichiro, come fight me.
Oh dang. But yeah, like, and I think part of it too though is like we're going back to just Monster of the Week stuff, and I know we're doing it for filler because they just need to fill time. But like after we have these huge episodes with big things, it doesn't feel as significant anymore. Like especially when like the monster is neat. Like I mean the goofy, heckin' the grumpy snowman costume, but like that's kind of it.
It's weird too because like prior to the Rainbow Crystal arc, right? All of Usagi's monsters have been like representative of something that's preying on people in society, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
But during the Rainbow Crystal arc, things get a little bit goofier and like there's some self-referential stuff. And then at the end of it, Usagi gets to remember everything. And now they're trying to return to like a more goofy tone and more Monster of the Week stuff, but it's still not like, oh, this is a thing that is preying upon young girls as a general. This is a thing that is designed to ensnare specifically the Moon Princess.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, that focus. I don't want to say it like weakens the Monster of the Week stuff in general, but I think it kind of does. I was thinking we've talked about this too. The things that she's like, oh, I'm going to punish you for doing in these episodes get like absolutely off the wall bonkers because
Oh
like she
gosh,
doesn't
yeah.
because like they're so weirdly specific and odd. So it's just like it's not just a general like, oh, how
There's
dare you
like
play with young girls' hearts or something. It's like really weird.
unforgivable using a contest.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like really. I think, yeah, it's harder to. I don't
Yeah.
know. Again, this is probably just because we're grown ups watching it. Kids aren't going to pick up on this, but we do.
I don't know. It's a thing where like the emotional stakes attaching us to the Sailor Scouts like were established previously, and like at the same time this might be a thing where I like weird big stories where like everything is happening at once and then there's a social change at the end. Like a lot of Terry Pratchett books will have like there's a beginning state for the world and an end state for the world, and something happens to make everything be significantly different. But like I don't know, these types of Monster of the Weeks are less engaging than like some of the earlier Monster of the Weeks.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. Like the designs and the fight stuff. I mean, like especially when we get into the cool stuff with like with the figure
Mm-hmm.
skating episode too. I mean, like that's a cool fight villain in general. Like they do
Yeah.
cool stuff. I mean, this might be because I've been reading a webcomic called Blades of Furry, which is about combat figure skating. Look that up. Amazing comic if you haven't read it. But like
Mm-hmm.
I did kind of vibe this episode kind of hard. Although,
And
see,
is it
can I?
this episode or the next episode
You're right. It
where
would be the next episode of figure skating.
is it this episode or the next episode though where the monster has like snowmen armor
Oh, yeah, no, it was definitely
and
this
wood
one.
plating?
The grumpy snowman armor was this one, and it's so goofy.
It's so good. I love it so much.
Although, see, I'm going to use this to talk about paired with a monster, Mako, the ice skating queen, because as you said too, you can do this as long as you come in a group of 5. Oh, it's really suspicious. We should check it out. And it's like, no, this is really just an excuse to go figure skating with Olympic figure skaters. Like, really? This
Mhm.
is the most obvious trap of all obvious traps, but let's go do it.
Yeah.
Like, of all of the traps, this one is like, oh, yes, they specifically want 5 girls to show up for some reason. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing suspicious there.
I know, right? Although then we get to learn that apparently figure skating is a huge thing on the moon, which, I mean, with the dark side of the moon and it being so cold, it makes sense, I guess. Like, I guess, is there pure ice on the moon?
Is there
I
any water
don't
on the moon?
think so. I can Google that.
Maybe there are subterranean.
Okay, there
ice
is
cabins
water
for ice
present
skating.
on. Yes, quick Google search here. There is
Yeah,
water
there
on the
is
moon.
there is in fact water ice in the cold, permanently shadowed craters at the moon's poles.
Yes, I guess that makes some sense then. So, I mean, I know this is. I mean, there's also a magical kingdom just living on the moon. So, I mean, realism isn't super big here, but there's small things where it matters. I guess apparently that mattered to me, but they all like to figure skate, and so it's just like, oh, she's finally becoming like the princess who used to love figure skating. Like, okay, alrighty, I guess. Of course, she can't skate worth a damn, as we know, but I do dig this one where like the villains, like they're like, well, they're turned into monsters, for this episode, but like these figure skaters, you know, like they're a team, but like, oh, you might leave me, and the jealousy and the like. It gives them again the villains a little bit of like, I don't even know how to put it because they're just monsters of the week, but like you feel for them a bit. They have drama. Their own story drives the episode a little bit, which is kind of nice. You know, like it's just enough of variety that which is part of why I think the episode stood out to me over the others a little bit more. Like, because I mostly remember that, and then like Makoto all of a sudden being a great skater, and there's like, oh, maybe I should like teach you how to skate or do stuff, and like she like forces him to go like monster mode too when he doesn't want to. Like they definitely have a toxic relationship. I mean, you know, like they need to start working some stuff out in therapy when they're not on the ice, but like see again another great fan fiction, side fan fiction with just like you know, a couple spare episodes of Sailor Moon where we only talk about the characters you saw in one throwaway episode going to therapy together. I'll write it.
Ooh, I would love that.
I mean, you've also got the from quite a bit earlier the twin monsters who start kind of winning and then immediately fall apart.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, and these are like twin monsters who like actually work together and they almost win. like yeah, this is how that's supposed to go. Mm-hmm. You know what? How about I set up something ridiculous? Although, we should do a YouTube. Wait, let me do a YouTube thing. If this episode of the podcast can get 10 likes on YouTube, I will unironically write a single spin-off story with the figure skaters go to therapy together. How's that?
Sounds great.
I know. From whatever previous episode was about podcast engagement, there we go. I really will do it too. It would be very fun. But sorry, you had a point to make.
This is another episode where Mako goes, he's just like my old boyfriend.
Yes.
Yeah, right at the end. Like, I mean, right after you almost had like an Olympic figure skater fall for you, girl. Like, that's the only thing that cheers her up. Oh.
He's just like that high school boy that didn't pay enough attention to me.
I mean, I am fascinated to see, like, I don't remember if this guy ever shows up or anything, or is this going to be her trope the whole time with, like, that's it? She never gets over it? I am fascinated.
Me too, honestly. Like, what is going on where she's just obsessed with this boy who apparently has Arcade Man's voice and looks like various villains.
That's
and a little bit like the arcade guy.
We could create a composite of this boy who broke her heart by comparing all of the different elements that remind her of him.
Mm-hmm.
This would be fun. We need to start keeping track of this. I agree. I like this as an idea. This is smart, Wren.
Mm-hmm. I need to make a composite sketch. I think that it's fair to say that he probably has evil boy eyes. They're very
no.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know. This might just be your bias towards villains, Kai. I'm just saying.
Okay. But you clearly can't resist evil twinks, so...
Oh, dang. Whoa, dang. Well, with that one done, we could talk about the last episode if we want. The legendary Lake Yokai, the bond of Usagi's family, where Luna gets pissed that she has to go on a family vacation with her family because she is a child and doesn't get to magically control her life. Luna? Oh my god.
Which is just like, do you expect for her to, like, pretend to be sick so that she can stay...
I mean, like, exactly. Like, it's really silly. And I mean, like, they even talked about it in the previous episodes where, like, yeah, the queen wanted to put you in more peaceful times so you might be able to live as a normal kid. Like, maybe let them live a little bit normally, okay? Like, but either way, it's like, it's just come on with family. Like, how is that this bad? Like, come on. They're just going to a hot spring, too. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
I mean, Tuxedo Mask does release a lake from the a lake monster.
I mean, true, but nobody knew that was going to happen, except for apparently all the other Sailor Scouts who randomly show up. They're like, oh yeah, we knew something would happen. It's like, really? Although also her brother just being like, I don't want to get in because you're naked in there. And then like immediately stealing his sister's fucking towel. It's like, you idiot. You fucking idiot.
This is just like a small boy child, though.
I mean,
you gross, you have cooties.
I mean, kind of, but it's also silly because, like, co-ed baths are not that abnormal in Japan. Like,
I know.
It's weird almost that he had never been to one in his life, and culturally.
He probably has. He's just reached an age where he's uncomfortable with his sister being naked.
Yeah, and then immediately steals her towel to make her more naked.
I know.
Because believe me, in a lot of co-ed baths, they don't have towels. This is we did this for the anime thing, you know? Like, but of course, though, this also gives us the obligatory hot springs episode. We joked about the obligatory beach episode, and there's a really cool parallel here, too, because in the obligatory beach episode, they fought a monster that actually has no affiliation whatsoever with the evil group that they're trying to take down. Same thing in this episode. Yeah, because while he summons her, she's just always been there. Like, this actually has nothing to do with, like, them or the group. It's just another evil monster that's hanging around.
Although, like, the evil monster does have parallels to backstory.
Yeah, a definite parallel with the whole Moon Princess, Endymion, Natalia sort of thing.
Oh yeah, extremely so. That is very true. And
but it's nice that she gets to sort of get over things and float away and be happy.
No, I agree. And I mean, to be fair, she also gets to just, I mean, especially for like a second, she gets to have a good time a little bit. Like, she's having fun. Like, up until, you know, like, I'm thinking I would do the fight thing, but like, she's having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And she deserves that, you know? It seems like most of her good times end up being destroyed by evil monsters. I mean, and this one is not necessarily destroyed by evil monsters, but, you know.
True.
And her dad is adorable.
Why don't Sailor Scouts ever get a vacation? I'm just saying. What is that video game where they're like Sailor Moon-esque characters and they form a union? I'm going to feel so dumb for forgetting its name. It's really fun. Come on, someone in the comments rescue me. But oh my gosh, it's a great game. So yes, hashtag unionize Sailor Moon. Poor Sailor Scouts. Yeah, we need a vacation. Although to be fair, they make jokes about that in like other media that's Sailor Moon inspired a lot about like, oh yeah, no, the evil organization is like on vacation for a week, like things like that. Like, cause it's like, yeah, no, literally, like, yeah, we deserve vacations too, and it's funny. It's cool to see like where this show, you know, how it building blocks into so much media afterwards. Because I mean, there's obviously magical girl shows before this, and like some of them are great still, but like Sailor Moon became like the comparison for all magical girl shows for some reason. I mean, it's probably just because it's so famous, but still. But minus the, you know, we get some more legendary lover stuff and things like that. I'm trying to think if there was any other big stuff. I mean, like, he is obviously starting to remember that he's not actually full evil more, and I think is this the episode 2 where even Kunzite's actually kind of like, what? Like, aren't you worried about this? No, it's fine. Like, it's just like Queen Beryl is an awful leader. I'm just gonna say it. She does a bad job. Like, if she wasn't the one in charge and they let the boys do their shit more, like, they would probably unironically win, which, I mean, they know you have to kind of do that. You know, the good guys have to win. But she's bad at her job.
Yeah.
Although, as we said in the first episode of the podcast, I think, you know, she's apparently smoking hot, so it's all okay.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes evil ladies just have to murder their subordinates, and you get over it because Hashtag girl boss.
Yeah, hashtag girl boss gaslight. Dang, I got it in the wrong order, but you get the idea. I mean, that's kind of what she does, though, to be real.
Oh god, yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, I almost did forget, because I do want to point this out. Usagi's dad, like, I'm gonna protect the whole family. Like, this is, like, beyond, like, this is a terrifying monster thing, and even he knows something's screwed up. And he's still like, no, I'm gonna keep everyone safe. Like, it's kind of cool, like, it shows a little bit of, like, where Usagi might have at least got, like, her part of her I want to be a hero and save the world streak from. Like, when she really is doing the right thing, like, she probably picked it up from her dad. And considering this is another filler episode, it's nice, like, it's nice when the filler episodes not only just fill time, but, like, get to build something a little more. Because most anime don't do that. I mean, there's a reason most people, like, forget filler arcs, or there's, like, even viewing lists to skip all filler and stuff like that sometimes for things. And it's nice to have it be at least worth something.
That does. Knowing that this is a filler episode, I'm curious if you have encountered this in your research. In this episode, it is revealed that Tuxedo Mask's brainwashing is a result of his memories being erased. And I wonder if that is canon to the manga, or if that's just an explanation that's thrown in for filler.
Ooh, that's interesting. From what I've been seeing, it seems like he was definitely, like, brainwashed and all that stuff was messed with. There's also something, to be honest, a small thing, like the Deke dub of this episode actually messes up his name several times.
What did they name him? Because I know that they named him Darien.
Yeah, they made weird stuff about, like, they called him Prince Darien instead of Prince Endymion. So when they're like, "Are you Darien?" He's like, "Darien, Serena. I've never heard those names before." So I'm going to, like, assume that he really has lost his memories and they've been taken from him or something like that. We've seen the musical, so that we know a little bit. I mean, I think it's kind of obvious at this point that Endymion and, like, Kunzite and all them, they are a little bit interconnected. I mean, like, Kunzite even, like, acts like, yeah, I know this guy, like, I've met him before, kind of stuff. Like, they have some history before he becomes evil. So, like, this kind of confirms a little bit of it, a little bit more. But I do think the memory loss is canon. And if it's not, wow, they did a great job weaving that into the series. Like, dang.
Yeah.
Well, gosh. Do we have anything else big here? We're coming near an hour again on recording. Did we miss anything important from the episodes? I'll take
I felt like, for whatever reason, there was a difference in art style. I don't know fucking why.
Oh, yeah, I remember you mentioning that, too. If anyone knows anything about that, comments. I mean, I know YouTube engagement, but really comments, because, like, I
Did the
thought
lines
there was
get slightly thicker? What exactly?
See, Kai is an actual artist and draws and does stuff, so it would pick up these tiny details. I didn't really notice it first till Kai started pointing it out.
Because, like, I don't think that there's actually anything different. I just feel like there is, and I'm missing it, and it bothers me.
And this should still all be season 1, too. So, like, season 1, too, season 1 as well. So, like, there shouldn't be any big changes yet. I mean, we're going to get a bit of a quality boost next season, which we're getting there. We're actually getting pretty close already, which is wild. But yeah, so yeah, if anyone knows about that, drop a comment, honestly, because that would be cool. Because who knows, maybe there's some interesting animation stuff that we don't know about behind the scenes, because even, like, you can, like, dig through the Sailor Moon wiki and stuff, but it's only gonna have so much, right? So yeah. Before we completely close out, I'm gonna be a terrible shill for a moment, if y'all don't mind. I will link it in the description, but I've been talking about the Terabiko game and stuff as something that we'll be talking about on our special Rest Week episode. If you'd like to know more about that ahead of time, I actually recently wrote an article about this called The Sailor Moon Episode that, like, I think it was, like, the Sailor Moon episode that time forgot. So if you want to check that out, I'll throw a link in the description. So sorry, I gotta show a little bit. I write about anime for my job, gotta do that a tiny bit now and then. But if that's about all, since there was much ahing and umming earlier, I think we can close out this episode. So, once again, I am Borealis, aka the Literal Grill.
I'm Wren.
And I'm Kai.
And remember, the moonlight is a messenger of Yoichiro stands. Which I'm sure there's a couple out there.
There gotta be a couple.
If you stan Yuichiro, comment below and tell me why.
Excellent.